All right, thank you so much for joining me in this particular lecture for paper second that is going to be about business ethics and corporate governance, which was newly added in the syllabus of paper 2 from 2019 June onwards. Okay, so this particular section was added in a number of subjects for which the test is conducted for UGC NET and JRF. So this topic is very important because this has its separate theoretical base. There are some theories, as you all know, that whenever we start a new subject, whether this is business economics, whether this is management, this was a research, this was teaching aptitude, we went through some approaches, some philosophies, okay, some systems which were necessary to understand. Only then we could do about further that specific subject. In the same way, there are some theories, some approaches, some schools of thoughts regarding ethics of business and corporate governance, which we have to go through. And we have experienced that in past 2 or 3 papers, the questions regarding the different ethical theories was asked in the examination, and the question regarding the corporate governance was also asked. So in this lecture, I'm not sure that this lecture is going to be completed on time. If this is not the case, we shall have to take some other classes as well. This is the reason why I did not wait further. I have just started the lecture within 1 minute of starting this particular lecture. So I'm just going to share the screen. So before sharing, I just need your confirmation. Am I completely audible to you? Can you hear me? Angela ma'am, Indu ma'am, Navneet? Can you hear me completely? Am I audible? Can I move further? Can I get your confirmation, Navneet? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. I've got the confirmation. Before starting again, I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure because there are a number of theories we have to go through, some philosophical bases or approaches, or you can say schools of thought. And after that, we have to move to corporate governance and its theories. Okay. And when the different panels were set up in Indian scenario regarding corporate governance, that we have to go through in this particular lecture. So just shared the screen with you. This is about business ethics first of all, and as you know that as per my style of teaching, first of all I have to clear your concept regarding that. This is the reason why this slide completely has been left blank. Okay, so what is business ethics? We have gone through from research ethics completely. Whenever you come across with the word ethics, it has only one meaning. Okay, that means true values. True values. Okay, that is your own rules. Okay, that can be truth, worthiness. Okay, that are uh, your religious or any kind of values which you have to follow, which you are abide by, which you are abide by. Okay, so these are the ethics you have to follow. In any case, in any kind of subject, we have to follow some ethics which defines some kinds of rules or regulations or policies, or finally the protocols. Okay, so these are the things which are defined by ethics of a particular subject. So uh, in this way, now we have to move to business ethics. So again, we have to find the answer of a specific question. The question is, there can be 1 or 2 questions I'm going to write here right now. The first question is, what are different ethics of any business. What are ethics of any business? Ethics means the thing, the work which is true, which is trustworthy, which is truthful. Okay. So what are the different ethics of any business? To this question, we have to answer right now. So for answering this question, today's first topic shall be covered. That is about business ethics and its types. That shall answer you what are different ethics of any business. So the business ethic is that refers to contemporary organizational standards, principles, values, norms that govern your action and behavior of individual or anyone which is related to the business organization. So these are simply standards, principles, values, norms that governs everything. Okay, so these are known as business ethics. The word business only denotes to the organization about which the ethics are to be talked about. So now what are different ethics of any business? So these are some ethics. Okay, a business has to perform personal responsibilities towards his employees. Then a business has some official responsibilities for everyone. Okay, for a business there are some official responsibility, like you have to daily come on time, you have to finish your work. Okay, you have to submit your work on time, you have to do everything at the best of your knowledge and belief, so that you do not commit any kind of mistake. So these are called official responsibilities. Then there are personal loyalties. You have to be loyal. Okay, a business has to be loyal. When we are talking about from a business point of view, a business has to be loyal towards all his stakeholders. Stakeholders, you already know. These are customers, these are creditors, these are employees, these are anyone attached to the company. Then in the business ethics, the fourth one is corporate responsibilities as well. You have to be very responsible. The business has to be very responsible towards their stakeholders, because customer needs better products, employee needs better salaries, the stakeholder needs or the shareholder needs better return for their investment. So these are corporate responsibilities that they have to perform. Then there are economic responsibilities. These also fall under the business ethics. These are a business has to earn a profit for survival. This is the economic responsibility of every business. They have to earn money. They have to get net profits. Then there is technical morality. This also falls under business ethics. Okay. So technically a business has to be very much contemporary. Okay, because whatever the technology is, their business should adopt that. Only then they can expect the growth in the near future. And I think this is the last one, that's the legal responsibility. A business has to follow all the regulations given by government time to time, whether this is GST, whether this is income tax, whether this is any kind of tax liability or penalty, that the business has to follow or has to obey. So these are the areas. Okay, so these are different areas or different ethics which any business has to perform. I'm again going to answer this question. First are personal responsibilities, second official responsibilities, then personal loyalties, corporate responsibilities, economic responsibilities, technical morality, and legal responsibility. These are the areas of business ethics for any kind of business organization. Now I am going to tell you the answer of a second question, and that shall ultimately become our second topic. And what is this question? How you get to know that you are ethically right. Okay, so this is the next question. How do you get to know that you are ethically right? You are doing an action, you are doing any work, you are performing any action, you are performing any kind of duty. How do you know that whatever you are doing that is ethically right or wrong? Okay, again you have to take this question in your mind. Okay, only then you shall be able to understand the different theories or schools of thoughts regarding business ethics. Okay, you understanding me? So the question is very simple. How do you get to know that you are ethically right in any particular situation? For answering this question, there are some famous business ethical philosophies or theories which we have to move right now. So these are the theories. Okay, so these have been divided into two schools of thoughts. First is it teleological theories, and the second one is deontological theories. So these are theories of business ethics which answers you that whether you are ethically right or wrong in a particular situation. So these are the theories, and I must tell you these are very interesting to listen and to read to understand. Question can be asked from these as well. So what does teleological theory says you? This says you that consequences of your action decide whether you are morally right or wrong. Okay, morally right or wrong. Okay, right or wrong. So consequences of action. What are action? I have already told you. This is your work. That can be your duty. That can be your action. It can be anything. So these are your actions. Okay, so consequence, what's the result of that? That result decides whether you are ethically right or wrong. Okay, so your action, the result of your action decide. This theory says, this school of thought says that consequences of your actions decide whether you are morally right or wrong. So this is the theory or the school of thought, the first school of thought. And this school of thought can further be divided into three parts. The first is ethical egoism, second is utilitarianism, the last one eudaimonism. So these are the third further bifurcation of a teleological ethical theories. Again, I am telling you what is teleological. Teleological is concerned with the consequences of your work. It tells you that the consequences of your action decide whether you are right or wrong, whether you are ethically right or wrong in any situation. Okay, now we are going to move further for these three parts. The first is ethical egoism. It simply tells you your action is right or ethically wrong if it produces or likely to produce a result that maximize your self-interest. Okay, so simple example, your work is ethically right only if it only if it benefits you, if benefits you. Okay, whatever you are doing in your life, if this benefits, if this maximize your personal self-interest, then this is ethically right. So this is the first part of teleological theory. This is ethical egoism. You have to remind this, keep this word in your mind, egoism means just you have to satisfy your self-interest. This theory is saying that any action is ethically right if this protect your self-interest and if it maximize your benefit. Okay, even at the expense of others, even everyone is being harmed by you, that's none of the case. This theory is simply saying that you have to be concerned about your benefits only. If you are benefiting maximum, then whatever you are doing, that is ethically right. So this is the first theory under teleological theory. The second is a utilitarianism theory. Okay, that was given by John Stuart Mill, and this is saying that any action is ethically good if it results in maximum satisfaction for large number of people. Okay, So when you are not concerned about only your self-interest, only your personal self-interest, that is related with you only. But if your actions are benefiting to everyone, to people around you, if your actions are benefiting to the people around you directly or indirectly, then these actions shall be known as ethically right. So this is the utilitarianism theory. So what's the difference? In ethical egoism, you take care about your personal interest only. But in utilitarianism, you take care of the interest or the satisfaction of large number of people attached directly or indirectly with you. The third one is eudaimonism. So eudaimonism is a teleological theory which tells you that your action is ethically good if it results in fulfillment of goals along with the welfare of human beings. This deals with your personal interest plus interest of other human beings or other people as well. So this is the combination or plus of ethical egoism and utilitarianism theory. I am going to tell you a very great thing, that whatever the way, in whatever the way I am teaching you, that is much more than sufficient. The only reason is you will never be able to find that kind of brief explanation ever, nowhere in any kind of website or nowhere in any kind of YouTube video. So you have to follow me very strictly. I tell you all the things which are necessary and which are to the points only. Okay. So I have taught you this in a very great manner. This is teleological ethical theories that tells you that only your consequences, only consequences of your actions tells you whether you are ethically right or wrong. So ethical is egoism means you are concerned about yourself only. Utilitarianism, that means you are concerned about large masses of people. So eudaimonism, that deals with the fulfillment of your goals as well and the welfare of society as well. So these were about the teleological theories. So now we have to move further to the second school of thought regarding business ethics. So these are about deontological ethical theories. So what does they tells you? They tells you that the consequences of your actions do not play any kind of role in answering that if you are ethically wrong or right. Okay, ethically being right or wrong do not concerns about the consequences of your actions. Okay, so this is about something else. Now what is this something else? We are going to move further. So this particular theory tells you that there are some other uh, parts of these theories on the basis of which you can answer to the question whether you are ethically right or wrong. Okay, so what are these? Under deontological theories, the first theory is a negative rights theory. Okay, this theory says your action is ethically right if it protects individual from harm or unwarranted interference from other people. Okay, so when you are doing something, okay, this is you are doing something, you are performing an action, a work, a duty, or anything, and whatever you are doing that is not harming to anyone else. B, C, D, or E, they are enjoying their life. If you are not harming others, this is known as negative rights theories. And in this case, you are ethically very much right. So this was the first theory under deontological ethical theories. So it's saying you that if you are protecting, if while performing your action, you are protecting the individuals from any kind of harm, along with performing your duty, if you are saving the life of someone others as well as from any kind of harm, then this also falls under the negative rights theory. This was the first under deontological theory. The second is positive rights theory. What does it tells you? An action is right if it provides or tend to provide an individual with anything that he needs to exist. Okay. This is you, there are B, C, D, E, or anyone else. If you are working, you are doing, or you are acting something which is helping someone other, okay, so you are providing something to other people as well, which they actually need for survival. If you are doing that kind of things, if your actions produces these kind of results, then you only then you are ethically very much right, otherwise you are ethically wrong. So this was the second part of the deontological ethical theory. First was negative rights theory, second is positive rights theory. So the third is a social contract theory. Okay, so this theory says that you have to be very much in coherence with others. You have to make coordination, combination with other people. You have to be very much helpful for others as well. This is a social contract theory. This states that people contract with each other. Contract simply means do not a kind of business contract, just a contact with each other. They contact with each other to abide by moral and political obligations towards the society in which they live. So what you have to do, you have to make a very great kind of cordial relationship with whatever the people you come across in your life. If you are making these kind of relationships with others in the society, then you are ethically very right. So this is the crux of social contract theory, and that was the next part under deontological ethical theory. Now there are some other theories. Okay, so these theories, again, these also falls under deontological ethical theories. So three parts of deontological ethical theories we have already gone through. The first was negative right theory, second was positive right theory, third was social contract theory. Now fourth is theory of justice, that was given by John Rawls. He focused upon justice only. Okay, he told that if justice is there in the society, justice for action is there, then your actions are ethically right. If justice is there, if you can make the justice with others, only then your actions are right. So this was the theory of justice under that. Okay, and this theory had one part in that, that is social justice theories. This is further diversification of theory of justice. It tells you that you can further diversify the social justice into three dimensions. The first dimension is the distributive dimension, second is the retributive, the third is compensatory dimension. Okay, just giving you a brief description again. So deontological theories are there. We have studied about negative rights theory, positive rights theory. Okay, after that we studied about social contract theory. Now we are doing theory of justice, and under theory of justice we have to study social justice theories. And this social justice theories has three further dimensions. The first is distributive, second is retributive, last is compensatory. So it is written distributive first, retributive first, compensatory third. Oh, sorry, distributive first, retributive second, compensatory third. So what is distributive theory under social justice theory? So this tells you that if you can distribute all the social benefits in a very fair manner among all the group members of society, then this is ethically right. This is ethically right. So this dimension means the perceived fairness in distribution of social benefits. So this is the reason why its name is distributive, that deals with fairness in distribution of social benefits. Then a retributive, that tells you that you have to punish the people proportionate to their crime only. This is a retributive dimension. Retributive dimension consider punishment proportionate to the extent of a crime. If someone has done wrong with you, then you should not have a feeling of revenge. Rather, you should punish them to the extent only of their crime. So this is a retributive dimension. This is telling you, if you are doing these kind of things, only then you are ethically right. The last one is compensatory dimension. This tells you that you must compensate other people if you have injured them. Okay, the compensatory dimension is the way people are compensated in relation to the injuries inflicted upon them. You are here, B, C, D are there. Suppose while doing your work, you have harmed the B, and you have to compensate them for the injuries you have inflicted upon them. If you are compensating them, only then you are ethically right. So in this way, I think that was the completeness of a social justice theory. I have taught you that social justice theory have three dimensions. The first is distributive dimension, then retributive dimension, then compensatory dimension. Now, I think this is the last one. Under the deontological ethical theory, this is the fifth part. This is virtue ethics. Okay, when you have virtue of your mind and your character, then you are ethically right. So this is the last theory. It tells you that you have to be morally, you have to be in values, you have to be very trustworthy, you have to be very truthful. If you possess these kind of virtues in you, then you are ethically very much right. And this was the last theory under the deontological ethical theory. I hope you would have understood the complete subject matter I have taught you. I have done my best. I think we did about two questions. These were the what are different ethics of business. I answered you in this way, types of business ethics. And I asked you the question, how do you get to know that you are ethically right? And there are some theories to answer this specific question, which we have gone through in a very detailed manner, I believe. So now we have, this is, I think these are only some, now this is very important part as well. The first was regarding business ethics. Now this is regarding corporate governance. Okay. Corporate governance also do contain some theories in it. And I must tell you, if this topic is not covered in this single lecture, we can be taking the third lecture as well, as we are already taking in this week. So what is corporate governance? When you have mechanism, processes, relations by which your corporations are controlled and directed, this is called corporate governance. Okay, when you govern your corporate or your company in a way that you gives the maximum benefit to everyone. Okay, distribution of rights and responsibility among all the different participation in corporation, whether this is a director, whether this is manager, whether this is shareholder, creditor, auditors, regulators, or anyone. If you are distributing rights and responsibility in a way that your corporate is governed very effectively, so this is called the process of corporate governance. I mean to say, governing your corporate in a way that it maximizes your benefits. Okay. So this thing is enough for corporate governance, I believe. And now, again, as any subject starts, there are relevant theories for that specific subject. In the same way, there are very efficient theories for corporate governance, which you have to go through. Okay. The first theory is, what does the first theory states? This is agency theory. Okay, what is this? It's just saying that there is shareholders, and this is company. These two are separate identities. These two are separate person, and shareholders only act as an agent of the company. So this is agency theory. Okay. So this make the distinction between owners and company. Okay, and it tells that executives hired to manage the organization is agents. So shareholders are basically the agent of the company. So this is agency theory of corporate governance. The second is a stewardship theory, which is also known as a trusteeship theories. It's just saying that shareholders and company are the different persons, and shareholders are the real trustees of the company. Who are the trustees? They are different from agent. Who are trustees? Trustees are those person or people who are having all the resources of the company upon their own trust. Okay, so the company is trusting to their stakeholders that they are having their all the resources, and they shall use these in a way that they shall share a common goals. Okay, so this is stewardship or trusteeship theory of corporate governance. The third one is a resource dependence theory. It's just saying that neither they are agent nor they are trustee, but they are resource dependence persons. Okay, so this theory argues that board exists as a provider of resources to executives in order to help them achieve organizational goals. This theory tells that this is board of directors. They assign the resources to different department executives so that they can achieve their goals. So this theory is known as the resource dependence theory. Third theory of corporate governance. And now there are stakeholders theories. This theory simple says you that an organization cannot run alone. It has to take into consideration different stakeholders. Everyone is attached to that. Okay. This theory argues that clients or customers, suppliers, surrounding communities also have stake in the corporation, and the corporation has to protect the interest of all the stakeholders. So this was about stakeholder theory. So the first was agency theory, which make the discrimination between the stakeholders and company. Second, stewardship theory, which tells that the stakeholders are trusteeship of the company. Third, resource dependence theory, in which board of directors assigns the resources to executives. Then stakeholder theory, that means corporation has to protect the interest of all the stakeholders attached with the company. Now there have been some of the important committees of corporate governance in India. We have not included the recommendations given by them that you have to go through from yourself, because these do not contain any kind of concept. Okay, but you have to go through from one or two readings. Okay, so that are must to go through. These are some famous committees which were originated, which were made in India, so that the corporate governance can be ensured in the infrastructural system of Indian system. Committee 1 was formed in 1998, that was known as CII, Code of Desirable Corporate Governance. In 2000, the second committee was made, that was Kumar Mangalam Birla Committee. The third was Reserve Bank of India report of the advisory group on corporate governance 2001. Then there was famous committee named as Naresh Chandra Committee, formed in 2002. Committee fifth was formed in 2003, known as NR Narayan Murthy Committee. Last committee was the JJ Irani Committee, formed in 2005. So along with their names and who was the resource person, you have to remind these can be asked in the examination, and their recommendations are pretty similar. Each and every committee gave almost the similar kind of recommendations that you must go through. I think just one reading, but they are not that much important that specifically they are going to be asked in the examination. But the committee's name and the year of formation and somewhat detail about regarding are must to be gone through. So in this complete lecture we did about business ethics. I asked you some questions, then I answered these in a very detailed manner. After that we did about corporate governance and their some theories regarding corporate governance, and finally the committees formed for the corporate governance structure in India. And I have taught you all these in a way that I believe that you would have understood to the best of your knowledge. only then you shall be able to answer these kind of questions if these are asked in the examination. Okay, so in this way I have taught you these concepts. These were very easy, and these were very interesting as well. I believe that there was some kind of abundance of knowledge in that specific lecture, but that you have to go through. Okay, because to each and everyone, whether this is a live lecture, the recorded lecture shall be given to you, and you have to see that recorded lecture for 2 or 3 times as well, because these are some important parts of the syllabus which are must to go through. Okay, so that should not be the burden for you. Okay, you can easily go through, because if we have given you the feature, then you should utilize this to the full extent, so that you can gain each and every knowledge required for qualifying this examination. So that was all in this specific lecture. And in case of next lecture is taken about anything relating to that, then we shall be informing in 15 minutes. Otherwise, the topic is covered by now. About the second lecture, the information shall be intimated to you in a WhatsApp. So I believe that you are following each and every instruction given by me, and you shall be qualifying and producing the best result for you and us as well together. So thank you so much for joining me in this lecture. I hope you would have enjoyed it a lot.